So in the previous video, we created the print Python function and we used the online IDE. And I also showed you another way, that is the Python interpreter and the Python IDE. So in this video, we're going to check out how we can use the IDE in our system to run the Python codes like we did in here. So if you want, you can skip this video, because if you don't want to get in the troubles of downloading the Python interpreter and the IDE and then code, and also need to set the environment, so I will recommend you to keep on this. But if you want, you can obviously watch that. I will show you. So let's close this window for now and let's head to python.org, and then let's download the interpreter. And for your knowledge, I have not downloaded anything, so I will show you the complete step of setting up the environment. So let's download it. I download, and then let's head to PyCharm. So let's type in PyCharm, and then you have PyCharm, the IDE for professional, download, and then the community version, the free and open source version. You can just hit in download, and then you have the download. Perfect. So I'll meet you after I've downloaded all the files. And for knowledge, you may think that this is in Chinese, or especially it is Japanese, and I've added this mod to my system. As you can see, I have these widget bars, and if you see, my file explorer is something like this, dark. It's completely theme. It's nothing much more. It's completely Windows. I have just applied a theme. So don't freak when you see this system and can't comprehend. Everything will be same, just the UI will be different. And that IDM thing with the download folder has gone crazy. It has Japanese inbuilt-in language. I cannot change it, so please bear with it. So now I have downloaded the files. I can just drop into the download folder. You can see programs. So let's expand the view, and you can see we have the first file we have here is the Python interpreter. So first of all, we need to install this. So just click and run as administrator, and then hit yes, of course. And you can see install now, customize installation. So I will recommend you to install now and then install launcher for all users, recommend. And then you should also place a tick mark here, that is add Python 3.9 to path. So it will allow you to run Python files from the command prompt. So if you don't get what I mean, we will get to it later. So just for now, keep that checked, and then click on install now, and it will install it. It'll take a couple of seconds. It may take a bit longer in your system, so let's wait until it finishes. So the setup was successful. It's downloaded completely. So if you want to check it is downloaded or not downloaded, you can do that using, let's close this. So I was telling you that you can use Python code on the terminal. So you can hit Windows R, and in there you can type in cmd, that is command prompt. You can see run, that is the window pops up when you hit Windows R, that is Windows run for short. Then you can just type in cmd and hit enter, and then you can see your command prompt is popping up there. So it is running at the default location at my system directory. So let's type in here Python and 2 dashes and then version, and let's hit enter. You can see Python is installed, and we have 3.9.1 in our system installed. So if you're on a Mac, you just need to pass Python dashes and then version. It will work the same. You may have a $sign in here, so it's completely same, just you don't get this directory or something like that. So just you can use Python 2 dashes and then version to get the version from the command prompt. So we know that our Python is installed, the Python interpreter. Let's close this box for now, and then let's come to the IDE. So let's double click on it, and it will run as administrator automatically. So you can see we're going to Python change. So yeah, let's next. So you can specify the folder if you want. I'm going with the default folder. Let's hit next. So here are some options you have to customize. So you can see update path variable. So add launchers to directory to the path. So let's leave it there. So create desktop shortcut. If you want, you can add the desktop shortcut by adding this thing, or leave it be. I'm leaving it be. Update context menu that open folder as project. So leave this as B also, and create associations.py. Leave this all B. So only thing, if you want the shortcut of PyCharm in your desktop, so you can just leave it checked. So I'm leaving it unchecked, and that's next. So here it will create a JetBrains folder. So yeah, that's fine, and install it in that JetBrains folder. So it will also take a bit of time to install. Let's wait until it finishes. So our PyCharm is installed also. So you can run the PyCharm just now, but I'll leave where it is. So let's click on finish, and it's your site reminder. If you want, you can do. We don't need these two anymore, so you can just hit delete to them, and then you can close this file window, and then you can type in Windows S to search the file. That's Windows S. But if you have created a desktop shortcut, you can just click on it. So I have not, I can search it. So it is PyCharm. You can see we have PyCharm in here. Click on that, and then the PyCharm IDE will run. So you can see for the first time I get this privacy policy. Yeah, I agree. It is just nothing that you will not use it for some illegal purpose. So yeah, that's fine. Continue, and then send anonymous statistics. It will take some anonymous data from you, not your name included. If you want, you can send. I don't want because I hardly use it. And then let it load. So you can see. So it may take a bit for you to load this like this. So when it loads, you have this window down here. So you can see you can create a new project, open a project, or get from the VCS. So we want to create a new project, but before that, let's hit get. You can see here this in the left window, we have projects and then customize. So in the customize, you can customize a color theme. I have Dracula in here. You can IntelliJ Light. You can see the light version. You can have the Windows Light version. You can have the Dracula version or the high contrast version. So it's totally up to you. I'm going with Dracula. And then you have IDE font. You want, like the IDE with the Repelled, we can change the font size. Here we can do so. So if you want to see the fonts a bit bigger or the text size is bigger, you can always change it. So I'm increasing a bit, and then we have editor font. You can see as I entered 16, you can see the fonts changes. The font size changes, means the texts are now a little bit bigger. So that helps when recording like this and showing some tutorials. Then we have key map, that is obviously we have Windows. Then you can configure them or import some settings, but we have configured the settings. Then we have plugins. We don't need any plugins for now. And if you want, you can learn the PyCharm, but we are doing that in this video, so leave it be. So we have projects, and then let's create the new project. But still, before that, you can see here the settings icon. You can see about, edit custom properties, edit custom VM options, custom collect logs and diagnostic data, check for updates. So you can just go through all this, but if you want to customize them, but I recommend not to for now. But when you're project specific, you can just edit your preferences in here. For now, we are just tutorial purpose, so we don't need to do those. So you can see we have here a new project. I can just click on that, and now something window like this pops up. So now you may get a little bit freaked out, but don't worry, this is not that much complicated. So first of all, we have location. It's the simple directory location of your folder. So you can see a folder icon. If you click in, you can just browse it through here. So I have C Rahul, my location, and here it will be stored. So I'll hit OK, and then you can see Python interpreter. So for now, let's save that into somewhere, like let's create a new folder. So you can see you can create a new folder using this icon. So it will be directly under the C. So let's create, and then Python projects, and hit enter. What could not create hidden? So click that, Python project. Okay, I was selecting this users, that's why I cannot create the file. So now we have Python project file, you can see, then hit OK, and then new environment using virtual environment, pipe environment, or conda. So these are the environments that can be used to build Python program. So for now you should go with virtual environment, and then we have our location of the environment, and then our base interpreter. So here you can see the base interpreter that we have installed just minutes ago, that is the Python interpreter. So you can see the executable file. You can see users, app data, local programs, Python, Python 3.9, and python.exe. So here is our Python interpreter. It will use this to interpret or execute our codes that we'll write. So you can also go with no interpreter, but that's off the scene because we want an interpreter. So you can see create a main py welcome script. So when we will start the project, it will create a main.py file already, like we did in the Replit. We already had a main.py file in there. So let's leave that checked, and then let's hit create. Now you can see our environment is creating in process. So you can see you get some tips down here in here. So you can, if you don't want these tips, you can just check this box. So I don't want, because I really don't learn that. So yeah, leave that be, and I just close that. And then you can see some sample code. So let's maximize the tab, and then you can see the user interface of an IDE, that is the PyCharm in here. So it may seem a bit complicated and you may freak out at the first look, but bear with me, I will explain you everything. So as in the first, we have our header, and like we had on the left side, like the file, the settings, navigation, but we have a lot of more tools in here. So you can see we have file, we can save, open, rename, do anything with the file. We can edit our file, then we can view, can appearance, change your appearance, and the presentation mode, full screen mode, Zen mode, distraction free mode. It's up to you. So I'll keep all these settings at default. So you can just go through all of them, because most of them will not use them, or they are just for some other reasons. So when we are project specific, we will decipher them more. So for now, let's leave them. So in here you have our Python project, that is the file in which our virtual environment is running. And in the virtual environment, we have our main.py that I said we leave that box checked, and we have our main.py file in here. So then you can see we have Python project, C, Python project, the virtual environment, and then our main.py. And here you can see some external libraries. So these are some Python files come built in or with Python as we install the Python. So for now, let's leave that, and scratches and consoles. So leave that for now also. So you need to see that we have just our file directory, that is the virtual environment, and main.py, and home directory, that is the Python projects. So let's minimize that using this -icon, or you can see hide, and shortcut you can just press shift escape. So let's use that. I'm using shift escape, and it's just hidden away in there, you can see. So if you want to maximize that, you can just press alt-1. So you can see hitting alt-1, it comes back, shift escape, it goes back. So let's come to our window where we were coding. So in here you can see we have some sample code. So let's leave them for now. I can just hit delete them, and then we can just move all of them. And then as we did, we can just type in our code, that is we did earlier, print. So let's print something like 3 into 4. But you may have observed this red sign signal in here. So it has gone because we have leave that. So you can see a intelligence a box. So if you press this, you can see remote free format file, ignore errors like this, or edit inspection profile settings. So this is like the code intelligence as it was in the Replit, but you can just, it's more upgraded version of that. So you can just leave it for now. As you can see, we cannot see much of our code. So let me zoom it in. So you can see we have written print 3 multiplied by 4. So let's run the code. But how do we run our code here? So how do we run our code? So as you can see in the top navigation bar, you have a run setting here. So you can see run the main, that is the main.py. So if you click on this, and you can also see Shift F10, that is the shortcut here. So let's click this button for now, and I have clicked, and down there in the bottom we have our terminal window, and as you can see we have main, the output is 12. So this is the way we can use an IDE. So if you want to practice all your exercises or go along with the course, you can always do them in here in your system if you have a good system, or you just want to do this into a IDE, or we can always just sort to our default Chrome browser, and then we can just head into Replit and then code in there. So it's all up to you. If you want, you can just code in here, that is the IDE, or you can also code on the online if you don't want to. And when you are more into the groups, you can come back to this lesson and set up your IDE and then code in here. So we'll use this always, not always, but from now on I'm going to use the online IDE for clearance purposes, because you are a beginner, you need to understand them more clearly. But if you want to follow the tutorials, you can always come into an IDE and try the course here. So that's up to you, your preference. But for tutorials, I will use the online IDE, and for the projects, we will come back to this PyCharm IDE. So let's leave this for now. That's it for the lesson. So in the next lesson, we will create another program and try to understand programming more better. So see you there.